Hi, welcome to Sapien. I'm Steve, one of the co-founders. Sapien is a health and safety app designed for the construction industry so that they can move from an analog safety management system to a digital management system, and allows them to do all of their form submissions, information sharing, and capturing their data analytics all from one place. It's combined with a couple of different parts. There's the mobile app for the workers out in the field, and then there's the web app component of it for the health and safety manager working in the administrative part of it. And that's where I think we've created something that's a little bit different. We used a lot of the other systems when we were working with contractors and found them to be great at certain aspects, but from an administrative standpoint, they really still required a lot of manual inputs and manual oversight. And we thought this was something that we could free up a lot of time, close that gap, and build something that the system did all of that work for you. So let's jump right into it, and I'll show you the mobile app component of it. There's the login page from the app. Worker would click sign in. And we kept the mobile app to be pretty simple. We wanted it to be easy and intuitive. If it's difficult, people are going to struggle with it. And it's all about your form submissions, your information sharing, and your task manager. And so we jump right into the task part of it. You can see there in manage tasks is what shows up on their homepage. In this case, there are no new tasks. Any new tasks would be identified and show up there. Any new tasks are also sent out, and the user would receive an email about that task. In this case, nothing new. I want to go manage my tasks, address something, update something. I can go into tasks. I see everything that I've got waiting for me. I can go into an individual task, see all the details about that. I can go in and edit that task, update the process of it so I can move it along. I can also go in and create new tasks at this point, set up something for somebody else, and send out notifications for it. If I move back to the home page, and we move on to the information share, start with the safety board. All of the projects require a safety board, and most of them are all physical, which becomes problematic or at least cumbersome when you've got a document that needs to be changed and you've got to go out to each physical board to change it. By creating a digital safety board, all of those documents are stored on the web app, and if a change is made on the web app through the mobile app, they're all updated automatically. So again, you can go into the safety board, see all of the documentation that's available, click on any of the stuff. The Employment Standards Act is one of the legislative postings. You can see the poster for it. We've also got the construction regulations are required. We've got it as a link to the government website. Give that a moment and it'll load. So you can see all of the regulations and so forth through that. And then, of course, any other documentation that the company wants to put in place for their own reporting or information that they want to share. Part of the information share also then comes forward at the hamburger menu, your resources. And this is just a big information dump where you can share a whole whack of items. And so we've got listed in policies. You can have all your policies listed under different categories. Same with your safe work practices, safe job procedures. Everything's available for the workers so that they can come in and take a peek at it if they want to see any of how to, manage a task. Safety board forms will come to. We talked about projects. Again, a list of information. You can see all the ongoing projects. Click the info. See all of the details around the project. Also see any of the documentation that's associated with the project. You can load in drawings, specifications, change orders, locates, any of that kind of stuff. List of chemicals, again, legislated items, so repository where you can store all of that stuff and attach safety data sheets along with it. Inventories is all of your assets that you would have within the business, and you can go in, list all of your assets, and have the list breakdown, provide all the information and details surrounding each of those as necessary. We've got a miscellaneous box so that if you want to create any of your own resources, you can create them under that one. Submissions lists all of the prior submissions, so I can go back in and see what was done, make any additions or edits that I need to make. We've got a place where you can search all of your workers, see who's in there. If you go into a worker, you can see the certifications and download and see if necessary. And that's kind of it for the information share as well. Everything's easy and readily accessible. So then that takes us to the forms. Clicking on the forms button shows me all of the list of the forms. This is customizable in how the forms are sorted. So you can do it by most frequent, most important, alphabetical, whatever works for the company individually. We've got all of the inspection forms. So the worker would come in, click the project, click the supervisor associated with it. This is all customizable and they can decide what they want to go with. We can click on the tools, click on the inventory that it comes with that, click on these. If I get a fail, it brings up, I've got to put a comment in, and at this point, I've also, here's where we put in some of the integration. I can start a corrective, so I've got something that's wrong. I can start a corrective action at this point, and I can also add a task at this point. So from within the submission, I can also start building my deficiency lists, things that need to get addressed, and my task list on who's going to be doing it all. I don't have to enter any of that stuff in at this point. I can then add my signatures, select the roles of who's going to be signing it, add the signatures, and then submit the form. Oops, unless of course you don't add in all the details. Submit the form. It goes off, brings me back to my submissions. Again, it's part of the information share. When we go to the hazard assessment, we go in and look at what the guys will be doing that day. They'll pick off yeses or nos. And if they don't understand it, we've got all the information relative to that at their fingertips. Another thing that we've done with integration is that there is an incident. You can go into the incident, create the incident form, again, fill in all your template information, select the incident that occurred, and it was a cut to the hand. Here, we've set it up so that we can attach an investigation if you wanted to. So there are forms that you can pre-populate or pre-create and attach them to specific ones. So I can have bodily injury report and a bodily injury investigation, a property damage report, property damage investigation, attach both each of those respectively to it. So when it pops up, I get my investigation embedded right in with my incident report. Adding in any corrective actions, again, I can do all of that kind of stuff from the form in here as well. All of that then all gets vetted by the mobile app. So that's kind of the web mobile app in a nutshell. Again, we like to keep it simple, and it ties into the engine behind the curtain where all the magic is done on the web app. So if we then switch to share, let me change that to the web app. Again, land on the home page, click login, come into your landing page. And again, if we talk about information share, task management, and form submissions, the information starts here with the analytics report. So you can click on that one and get any analytics about what's going on with the company. So anything that you've decided to measure and build will show up here. So if we do, let's take a look at all of the last year. So if I go from January 2022 to January 2023, generate the report, there's a list of everything that's gone, all the incidents that I have. I can break that down. So if I just want to see my bodily injury reports, same time frame, click generate report. I get this one, 2 cuts and 3 burns. If I want to see what reports were along with that, I can click on that pie piece and get the 3 reports that were there. So anything that you want for analytics, anything that you want to build, create it, we'll talk about where, and it all shows up here afterwards. So I'm going to skip through all the ones that aren't really part of information. Assets, again, you saw this in the mobile app, so this is where it's all managed and housed. Emergency contact is part of the safety board. Employee participation, part of your information. Again, I can go in and see all of the reports that are being done. I can filter through which workers are on which projects and which dates and all that kind of stuff to get it. Incident types. This is where all of your analytic information comes from, so we can create any type of incident that you want to track. We can create these things so that they're in a hierarchical system right? And just keep tracking down and down and down into the information to see where you want to get it from. We've also got the users. So this is a repository of all of the users, list of everybody that's in, filter by operations and type of worker and all that kind of stuff. Manage all their certifications from here. In this case, you can see that this worker has 4 training certificates. If I go back, look at the next one, manage certificates for the next guy. There's a variety more, and some of them are highlighted in gray. Way we set it up is the worker is attached to a worker type and an operation, and those operations based on worker types are given training requirements. And so now, based on how that information is entered, will show up here for those training requirements. And if it's gray, that means nothing's been entered in for it. So again, more visual cues to make like these and see things quickly. Underneath that, we've just got lists of memberships. So it's all included in the users as well, but I can go into here. If somebody's changing from the membership rather than trying to remember who it was, I can just go to that list and make an update. Information share, again, this is where your health and safety system basically all runs around your hazards and how you're controlling those. So we've got one repository where we can list all of the hazards, everything is available. You can see all of the details, and this is again what you saw on the mobile. You can share it with the people in the field. We've got a place where you can list all of the operations. We've got a place where we can list all of the clients. With the clients, the information gets put in. And the way we set it up is you can attach a client to a project. And if the project, if you want the project to send submissions to the client, you can automatically do so. So I can go into the project in here. In this case, I haven't put one in, but I can attach a client to that and then send automatic notifications to that client if I wanted to, and just click which of those people I wanted to go to. Again, in here, I've got all of my uploads for project information that I want available for the field. Resources, again, spot where you saw that on the mobile app, you can load all of the information in and build all of the stuff for it, search the categories, and have all the information accessible. Risk rating and probabilities, severities is customizable for the definitions and how they want to describe it, but it's part of your hazard assessment system. The training, the repository of all the training requirements. Again, the training ties to the operations and the user type, which allows us to have the training matrix, which I can filter again by user and by operation. And if the training isn't required, shows not applicable. If it is required, shows the inception date, the training date, and the expiry date. Or if it's red, it's either expired or nothing's been entered. Or you may see an orange one, which means it's coming due shortly. So we've tied all of that stuff together so that it shows up on the worker profile, it shows up in the mobile, so you can see all the certificates, and it shows up in the training matrix, so you get a quick, easy visual on what it all looks like. So if we move then on to task management, again, same thing. We've got it in here where you can review everything that's going on, your inbound and outbound tasks, stuff that's sent to you, stuff that's from you, creating new tasks, sending out notifications on it, similar to what's on the mobile app. And then if we move to forms, we've got forms. There's a few things about forms. So here's the form builder. These are all the existing forms, search forms, filter forms, all that kind of stuff. If you're creating a new form, we've got specific form templates. So it starts with on how we're creating the analytics and securing the information. We've got document control set up in it as well, and all the forms are completely customizable and add all the details and stuff for it. So we start off with a template, and then you can add other bits and pieces to it as you feel necessary or however you want to build the form. So let me get to the submissions. I've got submissions that live in 4 places. I've got all of my unsigned submissions that show that haven't been addressed for the day. You can see here that some of these have a check mark and a little box beside it. Other ones will have either a check mark and a comment icon or an X to the comment icon. If there's an X or a comment icon, it needs to be looked at. If there's a check mark, it's not really going to tell me anything I don't already know. So if I look at an inspection that's correct, I already know what's on that tool inspection. I know nothing's failed on it, so I don't really need to look at it. If I'm curious, I can take a quick peek and see what was on it. If I really wanted to, I can get into it and open up the submission. Not necessary all the time. And so what I can do for the sake of efficiency is all these ones that I don't need to look at, I can click select past submissions. I can then sign and save selected, and all of those ones disappear, and all I'm left with are the ones that need to be addressed. So again, I can take a quick peek. We've got visual cues that tell me what's going on with it so that I can see the failures quickly. If I go into the submission, again, we've got the visual cues. So it pops up so it's visible. As you saw, I can add the corrective action, add a corrective action due date. So we're going to make it next week. Add a corrective action description. In this case, what's going on with it. Reel's finished, so let's get in the reel. Authorized by me. At this point, if it's not finished, I can leave it open. I can add where I can add a task to it as well. Title by reel. Go to store, put in all of the details. I can add the priority to it, medium. I can send out the email notification. I can select the owner is going to be me. I can assign it to somebody if I want to do it to myself for the sake of conversation. Due date is next week, and then I click save. So now I've got that. This has not been approved, so it remains open. When I click submit, this now takes me to my deficiency registry, my outstanding items. So if I look at it, submission 865 should be down here at the bottom. If you look at the bottom left corner, you'll see the gray bar that shows 865. So there's my submission that I just did. Now let's assume that the reel has been purchased. I've closed the loop on my task info. I've got a notification sent me purchased. So at this point, then I can go approved. And because we've already been into the submission, it now attaches the health and safety manager signature. Now, if I click approved and I click submit, oops. Corrective action completed date, I apologize. See, we got safeguards in it, makes you do that. Click submit, and now I'm into my completed items. Again, 865 down at the bottom. 865, there you go. So we've got a system that is set up to make it easy to identify things that are outstanding. Here's a list of all of the stuff that I still need to address. So everything's in one place, make it quick and simple. When I want to track all the things that I've done over having management meetings, I can go to my completed items and see all of that sort of stuff. We can gather all of the submissions and go through all of the stuff in detail. And I think that's it for submissions. So the last thing I want to mention is what we've got for company responsibilities. And this was intended to deal with stuff that got forgotten about on a regular basis. You've got inspections that are done infrequently or assessments that are done infrequently, and everybody would forget about those. So we would then put these in place. It would send out notifications based on predetermined frequencies. And then when you land on your dashboard, these are the ones that you would see coming in. So on that specified frequency reminder date, the notification goes out, and then I can come back in here and see what's been in or not in. So I've got 3 of my 20 inspections, and I've got 2 of my 2 inspections, and allows just a quick glance at what's going on. We've got oodles and oodles and oodles that we want to add to this. This is even close to finished, and all of our ideas, there's not enough time to get in all what we want to do. So thanks for listening. I hope this was what you guys were looking for, and I look forward to future conversations.